morning, Sequim. It is Friday, December the 10th. Wow, we are just moving through the month of December. My name is Jane Pryne, and I'm the interim superintendent for the Sequim School District. And this morning, I have our public information officer, Megan Like, on our podcast. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
So nice to have Megan on because Megan is the person behind the scenes on every single podcast. So I said, you need to be on the podcast. So how do you feel about being on the podcast, Megan?
Oh, man, I'd much rather be behind the scenes.
Well, we'll just start with an easy question. What is your favorite holiday tradition?
I think family. I think spending time with family. We're always the family that went and traveled. And so now we have people traveling to us, usually either grandparents or my brother or the last year we had kind of a different thing with COVID. So this year we're looking forward to just hunkering down and having a really great Christmas with family and, counting our blessings.
Good. Well, that sounds like a great holiday tradition.
Yeah.
Have you started to decorate your house yet?
Yes, I absolutely. We have, we decorate our tree starting in December. And then from there, we kind of just put some stuff up. My mom, I'm a huge Disney person, and she just bought me a new wreath that is a Disney head. And it is
fun.
so amazing. I just got to put it up this month. And so I'm dying for it to be all lit up. And I love walking into my house and after a long, busy day to see all my kids kind of doing their homework and running around playing and having those lights. There's just nothing like it. It's magical.
It is magical. And maybe you can send us a picture of your lit up new wreath.
I will have to. It's cool.
It sounds very cool. What's the last thing you read that inspired you?
Well, I'm a big word person. When people give me words, I love studying them. But there was a season in this last couple weeks that I just had been having, there's a lot of fog around our town and in my dreams there's fog. And, I think a lot of times with fog, we look at that you can't see well, that it's, it could be dangerous. And so I started doing research, is fog dangerous? Just weird things. And I discovered this really inspiring thing is that in 1 square acre of fog, there is, it's 1 bottle of water.
Wow.
And how unintimidating is a bottle of water? And so I just started translating that with my own life, where sometimes when we feel anxious or you can't see what's happening, because a lot of times we don't know what's happening in our lives. Things just happen. And when that fog comes in, I'm trying to turn it around and realize that okay, it's a glass of water. I can't see the other end of it, but I can drink a glass of water. It's not as intimidating when you look at it from a different perspective. And I grew up in a home where my dad constantly would ask me, why don't you look at this in a different perspective? And so I have always tried to do that. It's not easy because sometimes our own emotions and feelings get involved. But so with this fog, I'm just I'm going to do what my dad always told me to do and look at it in a different perspective. And, fog isn't so intimidating when you can look at it that way. So in our lives, when we're going through hard things and you can't see, just remember you can drink a glass of water so you can handle it.
That is very inspiring. Thank you. What's your favorite part of the job that you do? And what do you think the hardest part of your job is?
Oh, that's really good. I think the best part of my job, I love being creative. I'm a creative person. So I absolutely love getting assignments where it's hey, we have a returning to school thing and we need to, it's not just the information. It has to look appealing. It has to be appealing. It has to have great direction. So those are the kind of things I love doing, is creating and spending time. I get lost in my assignments because it is so much fun to look at it at a 3-way thing where it's not just the visual, it's not just the content, but it's something that people would want to read or it would draw attention to. So the hardest part of that is I'm very competitive. I am competitive with myself mostly. So if someone comes in and is Megan, we have an assignment, I need this done, I actually set timers for myself. I'm a firm believer in that you can always get better. And in my way, it's faster, getting things done faster and in a timely fashion, being very well prepared. So that's the hard part, is that sometimes I am more competitive with myself and I don't get an assignment done, in the 20 seconds or 20 minutes that it took to actually accomplish it. But I I love my job. I love everything that goes a part of it. I love hearing from people when they are whether they're unhappy with maybe a decision that we've had to make, or maybe something wasn't as clear as they wanted to hear it. I absolutely love hearing from the public. So to me, I'm a servant in that. So it is a very fun job, but it can be hard at times because of myself.
Well, I will just say on a personal note, Megan has been amazing to work with over the past year, and any assignment I've ever given her has far exceeded any of my expectations. I don't think I'm as creative as she is, and I just love the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
So can you recall a time when you saw belonging playing a role in a student's life while on the job here at the Sequim School District?
Yes. I got started, I didn't just start working at a school just to work at a school. I actually was a volunteer first. And I know that right now we aren't capable right now with COVID and some of the procedures we have in place right now to have volunteers. But I was a volunteer. And the classroom that I was assigned to was a 5th grade classroom. And I was reading with 5th graders who maybe struggled a little bit in their comprehension of the reading, or just reading in general. And I ended up being partnered with a group of kids, and one of them was actually from a different country. And so they were, English was a second language. And it was very cool to sit in that group and listen to the other kids encourage this individual. They would get things wrong, but they would cheer them on and say, "You were really close with that word. I'm really impressed. You're doing so good. I can't imagine learning your language. It would be so hard." And I saw from the very beginning where the kid would almost hide because he didn't want to be maybe called on to read, to raising their hand to read in front of everyone. And I'm not going to lie, there was an emotion in that where I was just like, wow, I got to see that process of feeling like it was okay to not fail at something, but to stumble, and that his classroom was going to be there to pick him up and no one was judging him. And I think as a 5th grader, that had to have been hard. So it was very encouraging, and I saw that belonging, and it's I wish that adults and everybody could see that kind of thing, because, we all struggle sometimes, and we need a team around us to say, it's okay, you were close, let's keep going.
And it also, we need to create safe spaces for people.
Absolutely.
And that was a safe space for him to be able to possibly be right or be wrong.
Yes.
Or somewhere in between.
Yeah, he was totally okay with being either or. So it was very neat, very belonging.
Very cool. So with the new year approaching, do you make New Year's resolutions?
Oh, see, okay. So yes, I do, in a way of I don't do the New Year's resolution of like what traditional people do, where I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to go on a diet. I actually pick a word. So my one word is something that I started doing about 4 years ago. And when I was volunteering in that classroom, a job came available at the district office. And that was the one that I was like, oh, I should apply for this, which is silly because I was so afraid to even call the pizza place and put in an order and talk to someone on the phone. And this job required me to talk to the public or have people come in that I didn't know, and I'd have to grow. And so before I applied for that job, my one word that I chose for the next year was to be brave. And bravery was something that I would not consider myself. And so when I picked that word, I believe fully 100% that word changed my life. I applied for the job. I went through all of the interviews. I was selected for the job, and the work began for me to become brave. And then the next year, I think I chose the word polish. So it was like really just being polished as a person, where I could really just refine who I was. And it kind of all got back down to this last year, which was equip. And so I like choosing words because I think words help shape us. And just like when people say certain things to other people, it helps shape you. That's why encouragement is so important. So I try to use words that I just feel will shape me into a better person that helps the greater community. I feel very strongly that I was placed on this earth and with the people I'm around to help other people do what they do best. That's my mission. And so with being that, I need to iron sharpens iron. So picking words that help sharpen myself.
Well, I love that concept where you pick a word for the whole year. I mean, that's something you can stick with and you can see it repeatedly. Now, how do you go back? like throughout the months where it doesn't just like fall away? Or
Oh,
do you recheck in with yourself, or do you have an accountability buddy, or do you have a journal you write in, or?
this is a really good question. So what I do is on the 15th of every month, I have an alarm in my phone, and it just says, how are you doing? And I have to go, okay, all right. So my word this year was equip. Like, how have I equipped myself? I, in the beginning of the year, kind of make 3 different lists, like personal, professional, and dream. And so I have different things that I can say, hey, I equipped myself. I hadn't had a passport in my whole life. And so in the beginning of the year, it was one of my very first things was I'm going to equip myself so that when I can go, I'm going to go. I'm going to go and explore. And so the 15th of each month, I check in with myself. Have I done anything to equip myself? Have I been proactive in it? If I haven't, it gives me margin for the rest of the month to do so. And so I make a plan. I am a firm believer in making sure that you have space to change. And if you don't give yourself that space, you're not going to change. And so in the first part of the month, if I get something done, I celebrate it. And if I haven't yet, I say it's not too late. You have 2 more weeks to accomplish this. And then I actually set a time to do it because some months are more busy. When school starts, it was a little harder to make sure I was equipped. But I feel like I have equipped myself quite well this year. I think working for such an amazing leader has been helpful because you've challenged me. I know that in my personal life, it's been a kind of a crazy season with COVID. So I've been challenged to have to equip myself in a way where I'm not necessarily around other people. And so the hardest person sometimes is to lead ourselves. And that is not easy sometimes when you're all alone in this word. So equip has been a very fun word this year.
That is just a fabulous concept. I love that. I think I'm going to adopt it.
Ooh,
Thank you. And on that note, Sequim, I want to thank Megan for our interview this morning. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do and the work that we've done. And have a wonderful weekend, Sequim, and we will be back next week.
Thank you for joining us today, and have a fantastic Friday, Sequim.